right, we're back here in the locker room with Billy Schweim on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Scotty McKay, Billy Schweim on a beautiful Saturday, a sunny Saturday here at the Jersey Shore. And, of course, Scooter, we have our Housemaster Home Inspection Twitter poll question of the day. Will the Flyers pick up where they left off as one of the hottest NHL teams in the NHL, hottest teams in the NHL? Right now, Scooter, 83% say yes, 17% say no. So let's keep the votes coming in at Locker Room 973 or at 973 ESPN. And now what time is it, Scooter?
It's time for the Locker Room to push to get Brian Propp into the Hockey Hall of Fame, which is sponsored by Wolf Commercial Real Estate. Is a full-service commercial real estate brokerage and advisory firm specializing in office, retail, medical, industrial, and investment properties in southern New Jersey and the Philadelphia region. They provide a complete range of real estate services to commercial landlords, tenants, investors, developers, banks, commercial loan servicers, guided by their total commitment to their clients and their community. For all of your commercial real estate needs, please call WCRE at 856-857-6300. And listen, reach out to Brian Propp and Jason Wolf down there. They're great guys, and they have a great company there, so please give them some of your time. Also, Paul Ramos wants to thank the entire Major Medical Hospital Services family for all their dedication during these trying times in healthcare. Currently, they are looking for motivated individuals with degrees in biomedical engineering, specialty compressor pump mechanics, and administrative staff. Call 1-800-969-1300, extension 107 if interested. Major Medical also supports Brian Propp getting into the Hockey Hall of Fame. Now, let's go to the Barb's Harley-Davidson Sports Hotline and welcome in former Flyer and our friend, Jeff Chychrun. What's up, Chick?
Hey, Scooter, how are you, bud? Schweimer, great to hear you guys on radio here this morning.
I know. It's kind of amazing, isn't it?
Well, I guess if we'd have game planned 30 years ago at Kaminsky's post-game, then maybe we would have anticipated this. But I guess we were too busy eating our chicken wings at the time and rehashing the games.
Absolutely. Spent a few nights doing that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So, Chick, we've been doing this segment now for us. I think this is our seventh or eighth week now of obviously Brian and I are good friends. We live together with Scotty Mellenby, and we believe that Brian belongs in the Hockey Hall of Fame, and the more work that we looked into this, it's kind of proving itself. It's not a friendship thing that's saying, hey, we want to see. He's really had an incredible career, and you got to play with him for a number of years in Philly. What was it like, playing with Brian? Obviously, you're a defenseman; he's a forward. But I think one of the greatest things that gets overlooked in Brian's career is not only offensively, he was a tremendous guy that could put the puck in the net, but he was a guy that played, two ends of the ice. How did that help you guys out defensively?
Oh, Scotty, well said. I mean, without a doubt. I've told many people on many occasions that Brian's one of the best wingers I ever played with or against. And I mean that sincerely. His play, as you said, on both sides of the puck, offensively and defensively. And I think it probably goes way back to his days in Brandon, where he played with Laurie Boschman and Brad McCrimmon and Ray Allison. And those guys, they went to the Memorial Cup final for a reason. They were just excellent. But I remember back in 1980, I had first gotten, I think I was sick at home, and my dad brought me probably my first edition of the Hockey News. I think I was 13 years old, and it was Brian's first year. And I remember him from the Memorial Cup the year before. That's kind of crazy, his first year. But and he was on the cover of the Hockey News as a rookie. And I remember watching Hockey Night in Canada. It was one day of the week we'd actually get hockey in Ottawa, and Bobby Clarke was being interviewed. And I remember Clarke specifically saying, isn't that Brian Propp? Isn't he a hockey player? Those guys don't throw compliments around unless they're well-earned, and I think that was definitely a start to an amazing career for Brian.
No doubt. It was also a start to a 35-game.
Former Flyer defenseman, and this is our push to get Brian Propp into the Hockey Hall of Fame. And Chicky, we've talked to Scotty Mellenby, Dave Pullen, and a few other, Mark Howe, to name a few. But most of the guys have said that, Propper's demeanor, kind of like he wasn't like a vocal, outspoken kind of guy. and maybe that might have hurt his chances to, to get into the Hockey Hall of Fame. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's an interesting topic. I think Brian's personality is definitely unique. I think there were times, you'd walk into, hey, Scooter, I think you'd walk in the locker room, you weren't sure if it was going to be a quiet Brian or a Brian that might be bouncing off the walls a little bit. But I'll tell you what, come 7 o'clock on any given game night, Brian was there and he was prepared to play. And if you look at his stats, I mean, it was impressive, the number of points. What did he have, 425 goals or something? And
429. 25, right?
Exactly. And wow. And people can have the argument that people that Hall of Famers win championships. Well, look at Brian and think about how he helped players around him. I don't think it's any secret that Brian he went to the big dance, the Stanley Cup Finals with the Flyers, I believe twice. The one year in 1989, we lost to Montreal in the semifinals. Brian had, before that big hit, Chelios caught him up high in the forearm. I think he had 14 goals in 18 games. I think he was leading the league in scoring that series. He leaves our club for whatever reason. We traded him to Boston. All of a sudden, Boston goes to the finals against Edmonton in 1990. The following year, he's in Minnesota. Minnesota plays Pittsburgh in the finals in 1991. Those aren't coincidences. I mean,
no,
great things follow great hockey players, right? And he played a huge role in the Canada Cup in 1987, arguably maybe the best hockey club ever put together. Winning clubs, winning teams just follow Brian, or he helped lead them.
Well, that's the thing is, when you get to, like, when Boston got to pick up O'Brien in March of that 1990 season, and they were a decent team to begin with, but you get Dave Poulin went there a little earlier, and then Brian goes there. You get two guys that play both ends of the ice. They're good penalty killers. They're good. They're dangerous on the penalty kill too. They had a lot of shorthanded goals. It's not a coincidence that they went to the finals the following year. And then it's funny, Billy and I talked about this. I read an article recently how they voted on the worst teams to ever make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, and number one was the Minnesota North Stars in '91. So he went to a team that wasn't even supposed to be there, and he had 73 points that first year in Minnesota, which is a great thing towards the end of his career. And they go to the finals again. And listen, they lost to he played in 3 with the Flyers. They lost to the Edmonton Oilers and the New York Islanders, which were two of the greatest teams in that whole era. And then they lost to the Pittsburgh Penguins with Mario Lemieux and Yager and Kevin Stevens and those guys. I mean, tough teams, tough teams to play against in those finals. So.
Right, no doubt. And I tend to think, Brian's hockey IQ is just ridiculously off the charts. Billy and I were chatting last night. I said, Brian's so unique in his thought process. Gretzky gets a lot of, obviously, he really owned the back of the net in the offensive zone, and he really made his sort of benchmark. But Brian would be doing the same things in practice. It would just drive you crazy. You'd be chasing him around the net, and all of a sudden he'd bounce the puck off the back. He'd stop to a pivot, and he's still got the puck. You're 10 feet away from him now, and he's coming out the other end, stuffing it behind the goaltender. In fact, you're like, how did he even think of that? That was before ESPN. That was my son's generation. They grew up watching all the highlights and the players trying stuff like that. We didn't think like that back then, but Brian was ahead of his time, as far as I'm concerned.
No doubt.
We're talking with Jeff Chychrun, former Flyer defenseman. He played for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And Chicky, man, we did have a good laugh last night. But during our conversation, I don't want to change the subject, but your son's playing for another former Flyer, Rick Tocchet, and that's got to be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And just really fortunate. Like, the thing that really impresses me about Toc is, he's a head coach with an assistant coach's mentality still. He's the first one on the ice of practice. He's the last one off. He's skating the guys that aren't playing that night. He's extremely accountable, and he really works on the communication side of it. And I know from a young player's perspective, my son, they like to get answers. My generation, we didn't ask too many questions because we were afraid of the answer. Today's kids, they want to know the reasons things are happening, and to their credit, and Toc, he really communicates well, and he expects the boys, the team, to work hard and give themselves a chance to win, and he demands that from them. But he appreciates the skill side of the game, and I think those are a couple of things that makes I know the Coyotes play really hard for him, and I think that's a sign of a good coach.
Well, that's what you want. I mean, I always kind of felt that Talk would be one of those guys when he got into coaching that he's going to be a player's coach, but he'll keep his distance. He'll separate, the parts of the game that he needs to. But, when a player needs to, I've been coaching now for 25 years, and it's nice when you have a player that can walk you to the side and say, hey, coach, I really think that, if you put me in this situation, I could help the team. And, guys like that can probably go to Talk and do that. And obviously, Jacob, your son has had a great career already, and it's early on. He's just a young kid. He's been, drafted in the first round a couple of years back. So hopefully we'll get the season going, and he'll be able to show his skills.
Hey, Chick,
Yeah,
let me ask you a question. So when you guys play with a Brian Propp or a great player as Brian Propp, like a guy for like Talk and him chiefing in St. Louis, winning the Cup, I guess some of those you take pieces of people that you work with and you play with, and then you mold yourself into a great coach. I guess they kind of took some things from Propp along the way too, without knowing.
Oh, I'm sure they did. Like accountability and coming to play 80 nights a year and doing the right things in practice and, being creative. Those are all, and let's not forget, Flyers are a physical club. Brian wasn't afraid to put a hip out or shoulder in front of somebody if needed to be. And those are some of the things that, without a doubt, let's face it, Tocchet and Berube both learned from Proppy. He's older than them. I know he took those guys under his wing as well, and lessons that I'm sure my son's being told things today that probably Brian whispered in Talk or Chief's ear at some point during our early years.
Right, there might have been a stick in there too, or two in there once in a while too. Probably used his stick a little bit more than his elbow.
Yeah, a light knuckle maybe.
There you go. Absolutely. Well, and it's, listen, it's all part of the game. That was a big part of the game. It's kind of toughened up a little bit now today. You can't get away with some of that stuff anymore. But I think that's what made the game great. I think guys respected guys, that played the game hard, that knew it. And like you said, Propp had that vision to kind of do the right thing at the right times. And it certainly created a lot of success. And like I said, some of the guys that we've had on here, Mark Howe and Dave Pullen and Scotty, Brian's got 6 NHL records. I don't know many players that can say that. That's an incredible accomplishment to this day still. No one's, he's the number one playoff skating scorer in history of the NHL as a left winger.
Yeah.
That's how do you, I can't believe that doesn't put him over the top in a lot of senses. So hopefully we'll keep doing this. We'll find a way to get him in there.
Well, that's it. And in a tough era too, where it wasn't easy to play 80 games a year, and he played a lot of games every single year for 14, 15 seasons for sure. Yeah.
Well, Chicky, listen, man, we got to run. We really appreciate you taking time to call into the show. And, hey, listen, it's always good catching up with you. You were a great player. We love playing, but you had great memories watching you.
Well, I appreciate it, guys, and I miss everybody in Philly and Jersey, and I'm actually sitting in my cottage right now here in Ottawa with my one eye on the National Hurricane Center, hoping this Hurricane Isaiah stays east, doesn't hit us, and then doesn't smack you guys in Jersey.
Yeah, right. Hey, Chick, give our best to Nancy, Jake, and Taylor. Make sure that you give us our best, and hope everybody's well, and enjoy your time up in Ottawa.
Thanks, gentlemen. And enjoy the process, and my best to you and best to Brian.
Sounds great. All right, Chick. So, hey, that push to get Brian into the Hockey Hall of Fame segment was brought to you by Wolf Commercial Real Estate, which is a full-service commercial real estate brokerage and advisory firm specializing in office, retail, medical, industrial, and investment properties in southern New Jersey and the Philadelphia region. They provide a complete range of real estate services to commercial landlords, tenants, investors, developers, banks, commercial loan servicers, guided by their total commitment to their clients and community. For all of your commercial real estate needs, please call WCRA SRE at 856-857-6300. And Paul Ramos wants to thank the entire Major Medical Hospital Services family for all their dedication during these trying times in healthcare. Currently, they are looking for motivated individuals with degrees in biomedical engineering, specialty compressor pump mechanics, and administrative staff. Call 1-800-969-1300, extension 107 if interested. Major Medical also supports Brian Propp getting to the Hockey Hall of Fame.
All right, Jeff Chychrun was brought to you by the Barb's Harley-Davidson Sports Hotline. Don't forget, it's their demo days at Barb's Harley-Davidson, August 1st and 2nd. That's today and tomorrow. Demo a new 2020 Harley-Davidson. First hour locker was powered by Surety Title. Surety provides comprehensive title protection and professional settlement services for home buyers, sellers, agents, brokers, lenders, home builders, and developers, and attorneys to facilitate real estate purchases. Surety is an industry-wide leader with a team of experts that will help you through the entire process, from contract signing to closing, for the shortest center city and every place in between. Surety Title is there for you. Call our good friend Ron Conklin at 856-988-8900. Just about everybody in our area has heard about the Jersey Man and Philly Man magazine, run by ex-Philadelphia tight end Ken Dunnick. But were you aware of their private business network they call the Legacy Club? Every month they hold private events at upscale locations in Philadelphia and South Jersey to attract over 200 top business people. If you have an interest in attending one of these business meetings and see it's a fit for your business, send an email to ken@jerseymanmagazine.com or call them at 856-912-4007 for more information. All right, when we return, we'll wrap up the first hour of the locker room with Billy Schweim on 97.3 ESPN and the mobile app.